A woman is at mile marker 54. A man is wounded in an accident. It's Martha's husband and Martha. She tries to keep him awake. A truck passes but doesn't stop. She tries to stop another 2 vehicles but they just pass. She waits for a longer time until she sees a man coming from the forest. It's an undead. She picks whatever comes to hand and kills it. She gets inside the car and tells her husband that someone will come to help us. She stays with him. It gets dark and night falls. The next day, she hears the sound of growling. Her husband has turned. She wraps cloth around her hand and picks a glass piece to put him to rest. She digs a grave with her bare hands and buries him. She is getting insane and lays down over his grave. Now a truck has reached mile marker 54. It's a woman who takes a box and keeps it at the mile marker. She asks Martha if she needs anything like water, food, or clothes. They are keeping these at every 10 miles. Her name is Stevie. Stevie thanks her for help. Martha says, "I don't help," and kills her. She kills the next man, then the next, and the next. A man asks, "Why are you doing this?" She asks him about Polar Bear, who started this. An undead kills him. She gets to the truck's cabin and asks if you're Polar Bear. He says, "I have gotten here by mistakenly sitting in the back of a truck." There's intense firing. Morgan comes to his senses. All of them are fine. Fuel is leaking. A truck is coming back. She passes them and they stay down. It stops and she turns off the engine. Morgan peeks at it. Al says she has fired all bullets. Wandell tries to get down with his wheelchair, which is in pieces now. As they get out, Al runs towards the truck. The door opens and an undead falls at her. Martha fires at her. Morgan says, "Don't do this to them. You're stuck like me." Wandell wounds her with a shot. Morgan kills the undead. She is hit. Their truck catches fire. Sarah asks all of them to lie down and it explodes. Wandell notices another leak and now the entire truck blows up. Boxes and Jimbo's East cakes are gone. Undeads are here and they are left with few bullets. As Martha closes the door, Wandell takes a shot at her. She leaves. Morgan says they should leave now. The walkie is melted. Someone picks it up. It's Alicia. She asks Charlie to sit in the car. She calls Morgan. Charlie says that woman on the walkie, she did it. But why? Alicia opens the map and says they can be anywhere. They will check in the east. They leave in their vehicle. Undeads are surrounding them and they will keep increasing now. They keep going on foot. Morgan and Sarah join them. Jimbo is pulling Wandell. Only Jim didn't get a single scratch. Sarah was in the Marines. John needs to check everyone. Morgan says maybe we can. Jim wants to get away from undeads. Morgan says you think, but you can't. Sarah says be grateful to Momo for saving you. Sarah says if he wants to go, let him go. They leave. The undead toll is raised. He joins them again. They are inside a hospital. The doors are weak. June is here after treating all and checks Morgan. Morgan says we can't stay here for much longer. They check rooms. There are walkies. Wandell says it doesn't seem to shoot one who's already dead. Al asks him how he got in the wheelchair. He says that while saving a boy at the age of 10, he got into an accident. After the wheelchair and graduation, he went for Marines registration and the recruiting officer got him out of there. Al says when you go to save others, bad things happen. Alicia takes a can. They leave from mile marker 103 and get to 108 to find fuel, but the tank is empty. Upon her asking, she says, "We're not looking for Morgan or others. We are going to Galveston. Only that beach is left. I'll take you there." They leave to return. Morgan is trying to add more to the resistance. Jim is in confusion that Morgan saved him for his recipe. Doors are breaking. Undeads get in. The hospital is surrounded by them and they're inside now. Morgan asks them to leave. Jim says that Morgan trapped us here. Now he should get them out of here. They'll go up. They go through the stairs and pass many floors. Morgan checks for undeads. Seems clean, so they go inside. They block the entrance with beds and tables. Al says that you weren't kicked out of Marines. She left it because she didn't like their rules. The east stairs are crowded with dumped undeads. June says that barricade can't stop them. They will go to the roof by elevator. They are at the top floor right now, and Al, along with Sarah, decides to go for the generators. While Morgan kills some undeads, one of them attacks Jim. He tries to pick up a tool and kills it. Morgan gets there and he's all right. Al has found the generators. Lucy can't hold the door for longer. Al asks Sarah to go to her brother. They leave the barricade and run. All of them get to the elevators and Al is on the generator. It's taking time and undeads are very much closer. As they pose, the lights come on. They get inside the elevator and get to the roof, which is entirely clean. Sarah asks about Al. Lucy says she's smart. She will get here anyway. Wandell asks what's happened to your hand. He thinks a glass caused it, but as June checks his back, it's not glass, it's a bite. He says, no, I still have to make beer. He asks how much time he has left. June doesn't know, it depends. She gets to Morgan. He says Jim asked me for help to save him from the undead. June says you did what you could do. June says what now? Morgan laughs and says asking me? She says you brought us here? Can you get us out of here? He says truth is I can't. June says you'll. Alicia says just a little more and we'll find a way. Charlie says that we should look for them. Charlie says that we don't know where they are. They might be dead. I want to take you to Galveston. I think if I'll take you to the beach, it'll make me feel good and you'll feel good. They hear a sound, seems like water. They get there, it's the pond's water. Charlie says it's a beach. She finds John's cap and says, Alicia, look. She can't believe it. Undeads are wandering around the hospital and Morgan is looking at them. June is trying to connect to Al. Wendell says, what is Momo doing there? Jimbo is still blaming him for trapping them here. June insists they must find Al. Morgan says, I'm sorry, I don't know how we'll get out of here. June responds, you don't want to lead us, but you can help us. Strand is lying down and hears Alicia. Victor says, maybe you were right, we should keep believing. Alicia hears June and replies, telling her that John is across the water. Morgan says, we're badly stuck and can't find a way. Alicia promises to first save John and Strand, then come for them. Morgan asks her to be careful and to keep them in the loop. They decide to use the elevator to go to the base floor. An undead's hand is floating in the water. Victor throws pebbles into the water, saving his beer for later. Victor tells John, now you're in my place, and can't see this clear hope. He recounts going to an island where someone helped him get out. Victor adds that if Charlie and Alicia can stay together after losing Nick, everything is possible. Alicia says they need a floating device since the water has crocodiles. Martha is bleeding. She covers the wound with a cloth and takes her supplies to go. Jim is looking down at the growling undeads. He gets up and stands on the edge, thus looking straight ahead. Morgan stops him. Jim says, I don't want to be like these undeads and need someone to put me to rest. He admits he can't go down, but he can pee on them. Morgan assures Jim that after they find Al, they will find a way out. Morgan says, you're dying, but you have a choice in how you die. He tells Sarah that Jim isn't coming. She asks Jim to leave his beer recipe with her. Jim retorts, go to hell, Sarah. She disgusts him but applauds his beer. He acknowledges the recipe is refreshing, saves from water diseases, and gives peace. For his peace, he asks her to leave him alone. She says, good to have you, Jimbo, and leaves. Alicia has found a vehicle. Martha fires at them and Alicia wants to help her. Martha says she doesn't need help but falls unconscious. Alicia takes her gun away and Charlie recognizes her. They reach a floor by elevator. Morgan checks for undeads and asks them to split up to find Al. He stops them and checks first. The ceiling is falling. They proceed toward the generator, finding a few killed undeads lying around. She's not in there, but she has left a message that she has left by freed elevator. If she's dead, find and secure her tapes, and if you find that bitch, finish her. They'll find that freed elevator. Victor puts alcohol on his injury. There's a noise or sound, they wonder, and here it is, Al's truck coming hell through water. Victor takes a sip, and then John. They were finding a boat, but found this. Charlie gives John his hat. Victor and Alicia ask each other if they are fine, and Victor asks, who's this new guest? There's another way to freed elevator through fallen ceiling. Morgan decides to stay to distract those undead so that they can go. June asks, you'll get out, huh? He gets to the roof. He asks Jim to help him. They are going on MRAP. John radios Morgan. It's June. She asks, how is he? His wound has a little opened, but her sound has him healing. He ate toffee, which he had kept for her. She asks him to stay in contact. The city is full of undeads. They are at position. Morgan asks them to hide from their sight, and he needs a minute. Martha gets senses and shouts after seeing her wound bandaged. Alicia says, Morgan wanted to help you. That's why you're here. She insanely laughs like an idiot. Morgan peeks down. Jim is here. He says, I have a reason not to help you. He hangs an undead upside down and swirls it away. It hits a car's roof, and horns attract all undeads. They get out. June asks Morgan and Jim to get out as well. Morgan says, power is out and elevators are not working. Morgan says he wants to make old sins. He wants them to meet Alicia and John. She gets in the ambulance and leaves. Jim says, at least you are now free from them. He asks him to listen to this, donkey, that death is inevitable, but getting rid of old actions is not possible. It's June. They are coming to get them out of here. John is here as well. He says, in the morning I was at a stream with a crocodile. Now I'm here. Alicia is here. Sarah, Lucy are all here. June says we need you. Victor says it's late to give up now. They have a fire hydraulic truck. Martha is still bullshitting. They get outside. Sarah controls hydraulic. Morgan needs to get down 2 floors to reach it. He takes a rope and ties it towards down. Jim is not going. He asks him to go. Morgan says, I'm sorry for it. Jim says, you should. He gets down with rope. All of them are watching him. He's down, but an undead is at him. The undead is killed. John took shot. Lucy and Alicia cover their back, but undeads are increasing. Morgan jumps right into hydraulic. Sarah brings him down. Work is done. Alicia gets out of there. All of them are here, but now surrounded on all sides by undeads. Out of the building, onto the truck. They are out of bullets. Morgan wants to jump to distract them. Jim says that you told me to choose my way to die. He wants Sarah to remember his recipe. He tells her, and she writes it, and at last he asks her to add some love as well. That's it. She says, copy that. Jim jumps. They hear the sound of someone fallen. Alarms and horns attract undeads and their way is clear. Martha is gone. They get inside and leave. They are all quiet. Sarah says, what will we call his beer? She wants to name it a meaningful one. Jimbo's Beer Booze. Jim would have killed her on this name. Where are they going now? City Shires are gone. Morgan says Jim can't go, but we can get to Virginia. They will find Al first and then go all together. Martha writes something on Jim's face. He has turned. She says, you are stronger. Now let's make him stronger. An undead is stuck while someone is running from others. It's Al. She runs but is blocked and surrounded by both sides. She runs to a door, gets in and chains it, breaks a car's window, picks up the walkie and tries to contact Morgan or June. She is in the south of the hospital, in a parking garage. She has found a news vehicle. She gets in, checks the cams and starts it by wires. It's a police car. She has a shotgun and runs towards the hospital. She is at the place where Jim had fallen. As she turns behind, it's undead, Jim and Martha. She asks, where are the others? Martha says, you don't make others weak. I saw your interviews. She wants her to convey her message to Morgan. She runs out of bullets and Martha hits her. She opens her eyes. June is here. They found her on the road. She tells them about seeing Jim. They're collecting wagons to leave for Virginia. June asks, what did she say to you? She says, she asked me to deliver a message, but I denied. John says, you have already delivered. She recorded it. Morgan watches it. She is still on the rot to make him stronger. Day converts to dark. On their fire camp, upon asking, Morgan tells that it's called Alexandria, and there's a few other places. Al says, which has a king and a pet tiger. Lucy has found a truck full of petrol. Morgan suggests first meeting at Polar Bear's truck stop to pick up boxes, and on their way, they will keep them at mile markers. John is here to take Morgan's place for duty to keep an eye. John says, I know your intention. Morgan says, she's dying, John. She thinks that after dying we become stronger, as he understands her since he used to be the same. Morgan gives John a guide to Alexandria while he'll go alone. John says, you almost got killed doing such a thing before, and now again? He says he'll get to Alexandria and maybe with Martha. John and others will wait for 2 days at the truck stop. If he doesn't come, they will come to find him. John says some fish don't come in the catch, and she is that same fish, and so are you. Morgan says, perhaps I am. He leaves. He keeps walking and tries to convince her on the walkie. She says, I knew you would come, Morgan. She is at mile marker 54. He says he's coming. Lights turn on. They all are here. Alicia keeps her weapon. Wendell and Sarah make coffee and serve them all. Al fills bullets in her big guns. Charlie brushes. Victor says, our mansion is waiting for us. We can go whenever we want to. Lucy says, let's find something new to live. June smiles at John. He asks, what? She is remembering Bill's store. John says the storm has sealed their way to the cabin. She tells him her insecurity that he'll know she's not that same woman. He says, I recognize you. She wanted to tell him that now she knows who she is because of him. She needed him, and they lovingly kiss. Morgan gets to a police car. Jim is here. He peeks inside, opens the door and puts him to rest. Carries him, closes his eyes and sees her. Gets to her, asks if she has a weapon, says hey, and turns on. He says, my people can help you, and takes her to the police car. He gets in, starts, and sets off towards his people. He gives her pills to clear her infection. He asks about the place where she lost something. John is on the walkie. He tells him that he's bringing her back. Upon her asking, he tells her they're going to Mississippi. Sarah says that the 50-watt transmitter outside can convey his message, but he can't hear him until he gets closer. Upon Victor's asking, Al says it will get them to Virginia, and it did run the engine without coolant. Undeads are here. She gets down and tries to pull out a knife, but she is feeling dizzy and falls. Alicia shoots the undeads. June and Morgan get her. They decide to get inside. Martha sighs and says, my husband. His name was Hank. The apocalypse had just started. They were getting out of the city. She was driving. A vehicle was pulling out from here and there. Someone hit her. Her Hank needed help. She stood on the road and kept asking for help, but nobody stopped to help her. He says, "I know what you're thinking, but it's not true. You're stuck." June tells Morgan that Al and all of them are sick. Something is wrong here. She can't hear him, but she has heard. He speeds up and asks her to hang tight. As he gives her pills with one hand, she pulls him, and the car gets into an accident. She says, "I told you I'd make you stronger." She writes something on his forehead. He gets up, and she's here. He says, "Our end should not be like this." She says, "It'll be like this. You can't help them now." She wants him to either kill her, or she will kill him. June radios that he needs to come quicker. Whatever it is, it's increasing. Undeads have gathered outside, and all of them are on the ground. June gets to take a water bottle and notices that their seals are broken. Martha has poisoned them. June lets Morgan know. She admits it. He mixed antifreeze. He tries to tell her, but she can't hear him. He furiously wants to kill her now. He sees himself in the car's mirror and stops. He pulls out a piece stuck in his leg, gets up, and cuffs her to the car. She is crying. She says it shouldn't end like this. He leaves. He keeps walking on foot. Tries to contact them. He keeps going and keeps trying to contact them. He finds a car, turns it on by wires, and drives. Al is sweaty. He takes a specific tape, turns it on the camera, and watches. The car is out of fuel, and he walks again, but now falls. He is not able to get up. Al is in emotions of past memories. He tries on the radio. Al can hear noise on the radio. She gets to it and attends to Morgan. He can hear her, but she still can't hear him. Now she can hear him. He tells them about antifreeze. June says ethanol is its antidote. There's a truck full of ethanol outside. Morgan says he's coming. June attracts them, Al opens the door, and they start their action. They kill and proceed. There's more, and a lot. Victor gets to the truck with a can, but the hose is stuck. Undeads are going away from the windows. Al screams to lie down and fires till it runs out of bullets. The ethanol truck has gone leak due to bullets. Morgan asks about the situation. June tells him that ethanol is gone. There's no more anywhere. Even if there is, none of them is able to go. Morgan says he can't lose anyone. He can't lose them. John says you're the strongest person he has seen. The signal cuts. He throws the walkie. Kills undeads in slight anger. They are almost passing out. Al records her message for whoever will see it to keep those tapes safe. Victor says, "As I tried to stop dying by drinking, I succeeded." Alicia says, "I thought I'll get another chance." Charlie has at least seen the beach. Morgan is here, but they're worse. He asks, "Ethanol is alcohol, right?" He stopped at a place and has brought beers. They all drink and are now recovering. John says, "It's your first and last time, Charlie." June says she was given poison, John. Sarah, Wendell, Victor, Alicia, and Lucy laugh. Morgan washes his face and looks in the mirror and exhales. They get to the place of the accident. Martha is gone. She has turned. As she turns, he finishes her and buries her under rocks. Morgan says now they're not going to Alexandria. At least, not him. Martha turned like this because nobody helped him. He asks Lucy if she has polar bears' journals. They reach a place where polar bears started all this from. It's a dam and used to be a denim factory. He had turned it into a shop. Morgan says, "I'll not force you to stop." Alicia says, "It's not just about boxes. We have to do what Mom used to say. Name it something else." To find needy people, Al has tapes of people around this area. Morgan smiles at her. They all look at her surprisingly. Their convoy gets inside. It's a good place to start. They are all ready to go and leave one by one, saying on the radio that we are coming to help. A small boy is trying to learn to aim. His name is Dylan. He shoots a deer as they get to it. Undeads are here. His gun gets jammed. They lie down as there's a huge plane coming towards them. They get out of there and see that plane has crashed, and undeads are here as well. They get down to the crash site. Undeads are surrounding the crash site. They keep going while passing through boxes. As his older brother Max tries to kill an incoming undead, his gun is still jammed. Someone kills it. It's Alicia. She asks them to get inside and runs to kill other undeads. The plane is fine. Dylan and Max are here, and Morgan is stuck. An undead attacks him, and as he falls, John saves him. Morgan asks them if they're with Logan. They're not. Lucy is wounded. John calls June and Al. Morgan asks Dylan to keep pressure on her wound until he gets back. He tells them to kill if an undead gets inside. An undead is trying to grab June. She comes to consciousness and brings Al to consciousness as well. Alicia is killing undeads with a fan and has got her hands injured. June opens the belt, stands on foot, and someone shoots all undeads. It's John. They are 10 to 15 miles away from the touchdown site. Logan asks where they are. Morgan says we are coming, but it'll take longer than we thought. Alicia sets a perimeter. Undeads pull John. June shoots them with his gun. Undeads are coming closer. Al tries to warn Strand about the crash and asks him to watch the skid mark tape. That man has a plane. John says we might be out of range. As undeads get to them, Morgan and Alicia butcher them together. Dylan tries to give Lucy patience. June is here to help her. Alicia falls over a fence and sees the fence notice. They need to cut her free from the pipe first, and they need hacksaws. Al and John look for hacksaws in their fallen boxes. John takes out an undead with his gun's metal. An undead gets over to Al, and it is unkillable due to its suit. She sticks him to the tire's risen pole. She records it, and John has found the hacksaw. Morgan is making heaps. John cuts the pipe. They have killed a lot, but they are still coming. They have only 7 bullets left. Al gives Alicia her weapon. Alicia assigns herself for lead, Morgan for the side, June and Al to keep Lucy safe, and kids to stay in the middle. They get set. There's a van here. It's Max's sister. Morgan wants to kill all undeads. Annie tells them that undeads are the least problem here. They have no idea where they have landed. Sarah's convoy is on the road. Victor had heard about Skidmark and is on their way to find this plane. Alicia and others are on their way. She wraps her hand. Upon asking, Annie tells that they were stuck here while passing along with their parents. Roads to the east are gone due to a landslide. Dylan asks Al if she's a pilot. She says journalist. Max says then it was must to happen. Al says we didn't crash. We crash landed. Lucy is feeling pain. Annie asks, they don't know them and are going to save them? Logan's people were surrounded by undeads. Anne suddenly stops the van and says that you're leading us into undeads. Anne says this place doesn't seem worse, but it's worse. Alicia asks, what does she want to say? She says, you will see for yourself. They stop before 4 undeads tied with ropes, and above on the tree, several heads are hanging. Annie doesn't know who did this, but they're here everywhere. Annie won't take them further ahead. Morgan says, we'll go on foot. He says that we're doing this work for a long time. Logan and his people are the first people who want to meet. Anne says they must be worth it and takes them in her van. They reach a place. Alicia peeks inside. Logan told them they were surrounded by undeads, but here is no sign of them. She peeks and checks inside. They all get inside. They put Lucy on a table. John checks the garage and comes out from the other side. Al finds things weird. Alicia checks a dark room. Light is here. Morgan calls for Logan on the radio. Lucy is going through a hell of pain. June needs dressings, peroxide, and antibiotics. She did it before in a trauma center, but in a truck stop. No. Lucy is groaning with pain. Upon Dylan's asking, Lucy tells him about Polar Bear. Now he's gone and they're trying to continue now. Morgan says, across the other side, they have a denim factory. Annie says there's no such place anymore. Alicia says they need to turn on generators since no one has been here for a longer time. There's something wrong here. Annie says no one is here. Kids don't want help. They show their guns and leave. June needs help. She pulls out the pipe at 3. Lucy screams out of pain. At the dam and denim factory, there's a man. He gets to the door, opens the lock by its code, and enters inside. There's no one inside. He wears a cap, checks boxes, and gets to the beer-making room. There are so many beds in the hall. He checks documents, sees tapes, and checks Al's checklist of needy people. Alicia says these kids are like those people that we tried to save before. She kills an undead. June says Lucy is very lucky. If it would have been nearby here or there, she wouldn't have made it. He gives her juice. Morgan is still on the radio. Logan responds. Morgan turns on the mic and asks, where is he? He's with his people. He has eyes on his people and on the stream. He says that you run a big truck which has a sign C and L, and you put boxes on mile markers. I'm L, and I'm not like C. He didn't want to fight, so that's why he brought them here so that they can quietly get inside. Alicia tells him about the plane crash. Logan just chose it randomly because it's far away. Alicia says I'll find you and I'll kill you. Logan says he doesn't want to see them dead. He just wants what is his. He says you wanted to help people. Now it seems you need help. It's night now. Logan has occupied Sarah's half-beer stash. To brew and make more beer, they need to take back the mill. Charlie says there's a way. Victor has found that tape Al told about. Victor says he's not going to miss this plane. Al watches that tape where there was an undead in a suit. Morgan gets to her. He wants her forehead wound to show to June. She wants to go back to the crash site. She thinks it has a story. He wants her to show her wound to June. June is tired. She sees John and gets to him. Lucy is resting. John found a movie. There's a VCR in the back room. June says we'll find our people. John says we have been very lucky. We finger-crossed so many situations. We survived, which seems impossible to survive. It's a shame if someone doesn't want to take their help. June says you made me believe while I didn't believe. We have to do the same for others. They make a kiss and hug. Alicia is still killing undeads. Morgan calls her. She says today we could have died. Lucy could have died. For whom we came here, they occupied our home. She says our mom did all this so much so that we can be alive. Morgan says if we're here, we have to give it a meaning. He'll go to find those kids, and they have to keep trying until they win their trust. It's not going to be easy. There's going to be difficulty. That's how we'll know we're on the right path. Alicia says, not so much difficulty. Morgan says until we are alive, we have to stay strong. Victor watches the tape and he's stunned. It's Daniel Salazar. Wandell want to talk to Vic? Al is at the crash site. It's raining. She removes his mask and kills him. Takes her camera, turns on its light, and records everything. She finds something, maybe a small bag, and opens it with her knife. It has some documents with a specific logo. She puts them back in the bag and tries to aware Morgan about her being here. She says there's a story here. Someone gives her a taser gun shot from behind, and she passes out. Her camera is still on. Victor records this tape for Sarah, Wendell, and Charlie, and says if you're watching, it means I couldn't do it. He turns it off and checks something on the map. Gets out a MRAP, takes his beer, throws it empty, and goes on foot. He has reached somewhere and finds a kitty. An approaching undead falls on an obstacle and is self-killed. He hands up as a man is showing his gun. He says I'm aware that seeing my face and hearing my voice, the trigger will be pulled, maybe involuntarily. You still talk a lot, Daniel says. He shoots an undead behind him. He invites him inside for a safe conversation. Takes Skidmark inside and closes the door. John is here at the crash site. He radios that Al and whatever she came here for is gone. John says she might have left due to the rain, but if he's being honest, he doesn't believe this statement. Morgan calls them. Whoever took Al took their ammo as well. They are going to load necessary things on the truck. Alicia proceeds to handle incoming undeads while he watches. June changes Lucy's dressing and gives her the next dose to lessen her pain. A nerve from inside has damage, so it'll take time to heal. She wants to learn to play the accordion. John is here and has brought some food, supplies, and a book in Charlie's book. Morgan and Alicia have gone north. John gives Lucy a gun, and they are going to leave. Victor walks on Daniel's lead. He asks, where did he get this bright bounty from? Daniel says, who are you to ask that? Victor tells him that Althea has sent him here for a plane. Daniel asks about Madison. He tells him that she and Nick are gone, but Alicia is here. He needs a plane for her and others. He asks him for a long-range radio. Morgan reports to Lucy that 31 North is blocked and there's more caution signs of radiation. Alicia is kind of blaming herself for Al since she had promised at River Mill to keep all of them safe. He says, yeah, we decided, not you. Alicia checks a nearby vehicle and its engine is still warm. They get into the forest to find out who is here. 2 undeads are growling below 2 birds in a cage. He kills them both but falls himself. Someone kills it and she asks for his entire clothes. She asks him to breathe as less as he can. He wants his stick back. As she pulls her gun at him, Alicia attacks her and asks her about Al. She doesn't know about her. She gets up and asks her. She tells that there's 2 pressurized water reactors 13 miles north of here. One of them's cooling system has failed. Last year it melted and killed a lot of workers who were working inside. Her name is Grace and Morgan trusts her. He takes a shower. She asks him to scrub his body, clean his nails, and wedding ring as well. She has given him new clothes. Grace says that he'll be okay. She wants her gun back. Grace says that she can help, but after taking care of the corpse. Upon asking, Grace tells her about dosimeters, that they measure radiation levels. She asks her about those tied undeads on roads. Grace says that's not her work done. She wants Alicia to take her to the crash site. John's vehicle has gone heated up and they need to go on foot. Alicia awares them to stay away from undeads if they have 2 cylinders like dosimeters on them. They leave. They keep walking and reach a camp. They keep calling Dylan and Max. They chat about the time when June was running from John and he was looking for her. John says someone for sure lived here. There's bullet signs here, which means they fought for this place. They hear a sound and follow it, which leads them to a cabin. She peeks through and there's an undead. Victor tries to contact Lucy, Morgan, or John. Daniel says, why weren't you on that plane, Victor? He says someone had to clear the pathway for them. As Victor says that I did it for my friends, Daniel says that when you said this last time, dam exploded and my face was shot. Victor says, don't you think that people can change? Daniel says that just a few people. Daniel helps him to make contact. Morgan takes care of an undead. He asks Grace for his stick. She says, absolutely no, because wood has holes and it must be radiated. Her fences are fallen, so there's no border now. She want to fix them. Alicia says we will find Al first. Radioactive undeads are here. Morgan says that he'll get tarp and asks them to come. Alicia still doesn't move from her place. Undeads are falling into their initial defense. She can't differentiate between radioactive ones and normal undeads. While Grace and Grace are away, undeads keep crowding her. Grace finds a radioactive one, and Alicia kills hers. Night falls. Grace says you might have had an infection, and her tank is almost out of water. She picks the dosimeter. Morgan is looking at her. She asks him for help. She knew them. She used to work in the operations department in the plant. When the apocalypse started, she assigned them to keep it running. They started running out of electricity. She should have closed the plant. There's 63 of them still left. John is on the radio. He tells them that they have found a lot of radioactive ones. Grace checks for radiation levels. She says who did it might have fallen severely sick. They show her a cabin full of undeads. They might be contaminated since they were exposed. Lucy calls for Strand on Channel 9. He can't hear her, but he's here. She tells him about her location and Al's being missing. As he tells that he has found a plane and Daniel, the signal cuts and someone is at the truck. She gets outside and asks if someone is there. She proceeds towards the transmitter. It has fallen. June has found a car with keys and the tank is full as well. Lucy awares June and John about Victor's message. Undeads are here. She takes out a gun with one hand, but she's shaking to take proper aim and runs. Gets inside and closes it. Morgan gets to Alicia and asks if she's fine. She says that despite knowing about radioactive undeads, she still risked herself. She says she didn't save anyone, didn't find anything in tapes, and couldn't save Al from going missing. Morgan says that same was with me, and I was stuck somewhere. Until someone tells you, you don't know it. He tells her that you're not caged, doors are open, we aren't safe anywhere. The solution is to open the door for people's hopes and their pains. He did exactly the same. His life started anew. Grace is going to bury corpses in caves near the plant. Morgan and Alicia want to help her. They invite her to go with them after their plane comes. She says that she got exposed to alpha-emitted radiations, so she doesn't want to risk anyone. He gives her a walkie. They'll be at Channel 7 if she changes her mind. Alicia says, "You said that it's going to be difficult." June is here with Lucy. She asks where are the undeads. They are hung high over a board. Someone knows that they are here. These and roadblocks, they must be close to something. Victor must be coming with the plane. Daniel says that he'll not give him the plane since he thinks that he'll increase their difficulties. He says if he comes back again, the next bullet will be in his skull. He gets out and proceeds among undeads. June, Alicia, Morgan, John, and Alicia again. Alicia has cleared Ranch Road 1783 by U-turn. Morgan has cleared Country Road, about 3 miles north of Headers Point. John's eyes are open, but nothing new here. These roadblocks are creating a perimeter. To find Al faster, they have to cover more area. They're getting out of range, so John is advised to use Pioneer Road gas station in case of any trouble. John and June stop before another blockade. They are understanding this trap now. The later it gets, the lesser the hope to find Al. A sniper takes out the undead. John tries to negotiate for no fight. With the unstoppable sniper, they leave in their car while breaking the blockade. As he sees a road sign, he smiles for his luck. Metal is clanging due to wind and gathering undead. A roll is giving us a tour of this place. The wind is trying to take John's hat. This is John's old place, Gulch. It feels like Gulch is still running, but with the undead now. He takes out one. The wind pump is making noise to alert for the next storm. John used to work at Nacogdoches. These were in the entire state. The brothel had only soup. They might find weapons here. They peek first and get inside a settlement. They get to the upper room, and he tries to open a cupboard. June checks clothes. While he tries to use the revolver, June stops him and uses a pin to open it. It has a lot of bullets and a few guns. Lucy is feeling slight pain, and she still can't move her hand. Alicia says, "I'm sorry for what happened." Lucy says she doesn't regret it. She adds that if they can crash a plane for someone, whatever comes next, there's no need to be worried about. Anne is calling Dylan and Max back. Alicia is hearing them and says, "We're here to help you." She asks where they are. Anne says if they tell, they will find them. She can see them. Alicia starts the car. There's strong wind, and the undead is barely proceeding. June is trying to contact Lucy or Morgan. Each storm has a different duration. He says they can make it to the car if they hurry. June says, "What if we can't make it?" They can use gunpowder. She asks if he was a good guy or a bad guy. He never became part of this theatrical dress. He was part of a trick shooting exhibition. June asks him about shooting terms like fanning, San Antonio split, and Fitchburg film flam, etc. They can't wait here. John says they can make it. They get out with their masked faces. They go through strong wind. An armed man shoots at them. They hide. He punctures tires. John's bullet hits him, and he runs. He runs behind him. As he gets there, there's a bloodstain. While he kills the undead, he's already at his aim. He's going to kill him if he doesn't tell him about someone. June saves him from the undead. He carries him. He's looking for someone for a very long time. His face is burned. He's worn all down. He is just cracked after finding a woman. John says he didn't have the confidence to kill. His hands were shaking. At least the wind is down now, and they will be able to handle the undead easily if they get inside. She takes care of his bullet wound. This man asks him not to touch his map. John asks for a reason to put a gun to his skull. He asks him if he knows people behind road blockades. Maybe he considered them for some other bad people. An undead is tied to a sign. Alicia is going to find Dylan. Morgan tries to stop her. Her car takes random turns and hits a tree. Something caused this. Tires have gone flat. Someone placed these here intentionally. Morgan is on his way to them. They are gonna leave and Morgan will catch them on the way. June and John make a blockade. This guy tells them about his car. It's outside at the corner, and the keys are inside the car. John says they'll not go without him. He says, "I'm guessing that you are separated from someone you loved." While finding June, he was disappointed as well, and he had shot a man's small finger since he thought he knew something about him. He is looking for his wife, Sherry, and his name is Dwight. He laughs at John's fish name and June's month name with the same spellings. He returns Dwight his gun. Intense, loud piano and music attract the undead inside. They leave through the window. The roof is not that strong for three of them. Dwight sees their vehicle and jumps. His legs are hurt. John gets down while June covers them. Dwight is calling them walkers. June jumps down. Dwight runs out of bullets and takes an axe. He gives him a gun. They shoot and proceed, and June is covering them. June walks faster, but Dwight makes his way back towards their vehicle. John gets to the car without him. Dwight gets in the car, finds something, maybe keys, but can't find what he's looking for. John asks him if this car is connected to his wife. He wants John to go. He takes a paper out of his pocket. He tells him that she leaves a note for him when she sets on a new journey. The last time he found that note on this car's registration paper, that's why he shot at them. He's been looking for a year now. He was looking for this car for months. June found this car in a campground with only undead around. But it doesn't mean that she's dead. John isn't leaving him behind. They will find her together. Dwight had searched half the country, and now he realizes that the reason why he didn't find her is because maybe she's dead, or she's gone. He has done bad things. That's why he thinks he's not worth her. He tried to kill them. He says now it doesn't matter if she's alive or not. He can't find her. June stops him from giving up. He has a new chance, but he gave up because he thinks he's not worth her. She thought the same about John and left, but he found her. He cries. She's right, but he can't get out now. It's on John now. Morgan's truck is here. They haven't found anything yet. Morgan says they must be hearing us, so talk to them. She attends to them and says she lost her mom and her brother. That's why she can understand them. They do not need to go through this alone. She wants them to give her a chance. There's no response. They decide to leave. June takes a cover position while armed John is coming for him. He's taking them out one by one. Runs out of shotgun, takes out his rifle. June's rifle is jammed. She kills them with the rifle. John has cleared a path for Dwight. John is out of bullets. June has only one. She gives it to him. He wants him to carry the axe and have its blade towards him. He takes a shot, which kills both undead. He's all right. It was San Antonio split. It was the second time when John took such a shot. John finds and checks the registration paper. He tells Dwight that this wasn't her car. The registration and VIN don't match. She might be still alive. He was in the police, and training still helps sometimes. Dwight smiles. People used to call him Six Gun Sam when he used to appear in shows. She comes and lovingly kisses him. He thanks June for saying that to Dwight. While he shares how he's feeling recently, she kisses him again. Morgan and Alicia are here. John tells them about this place and shows them the guns. Dwight calls Morgan. Morgan recognizes him. Both belong from the same place. He has reached here while following his wife through Georgia and then towards this way. They had something rough between them in the past. Now they both don't care about it. Alicia asks him about the tied undead. Dwight has gone just a little farther and shows them. Now it's a big one. Dwight says they're tied everywhere. Alicia and Morgan are gonna go through. Dylan is on the radio, and he's coming to them at the truck stop. They drop their intention for them and leave for the truck stop. Alicia says, now it seems we're on the right path. The kid's van is on the road. Only Dylan is inside. He's covered in the undead's blood. Annie and Max are the ones who are tying these undead. They have sent Dylan on purpose to know their intentions and mission. They're done and leave. Daniel puts on this song today, I Got a Letter This Morning, and sets things. It's October 12th today. He frees his cat, Skidmark, takes his weapon out for the undead. Skidmark knows his work. He peeks inside the store. He opens the door, and a machine gun fires. He kills the undead, checks its pockets, and brings supplies from the store, keeps them in the vehicle, marks this place on the map as checked, and the album is over. He sets the supplies and removes October 12th from the calendar and burns it. He opens a can to put it on the fire, takes it in a utensil, and plays the Sunnyland album. Skidmark eats his food with him. He has a huge store with almost everything needed for this era. It's night. Charlie is here, Victor and others in the MRAP. She is here for the plane. She gets to it and tells them its location. Victor asks her to hide somewhere until Daniel leaves this place. He's coming out, so she hides in the back of his SUV. He gets inside that same SUV, keeps his things in the back. She reports to them about it and says she can handle it. Daniel leaves. Dylan checks the Little Prince book. Lucy brings him coffee. Morgan tries to call John and June, but they are out of range while looking for Sherry. They want to look for Al in the forest, and Dylan interrupts, saying she's not there. He says he had those people when they camped there. Morgan knows its location from him. Alicia and Morgan are going to this place while Lucy will stay here. Lucy asks them to leave behind the tow truck in case Strand needs her help with the plane. Morgan and Alicia leave. Strand is here standing at the plane. He always flew a G4 plane. He says it'll definitely fly. He gets inside, sits in the pilot's seat, and here he goes. Essential instruments are not here, which he calls muscles. He pulls out his gun and asks Daniel on the radio. Daniel is not even around the warehouse, but when he returns, if Vic is here, he'll shoot him in the skull. Sarah talks to him and says she knows that Victor is like this, but why don't you give us the GD plane, and we'll be on our way. He knows her name and advises her to stay away from Vic. Daniel knows about Charlie and asks her to come out. He says he'll only protect her from Victor. Sarah says instead of sitting here with a sad face, he should look for instrument gauges. They might be somewhere here in this warehouse. Until Daniel gets here, they can find them. They must be somewhere here. Charlie asks him where he is taking her. She forbids him to blame Vic. She did it for a reason. Daniel is also removing those traps. He turns on the same album again. He asks her name. The cable is cut. Dylan asks about the Little Prince book, so Lucy tells him the story this book contains. The prince concluded that one should always be in the present and not be afraid for the future. Dylan gets inside and says his code, Ollie Ollie Oxen Free, to talk to Max. Near the old gas station on the old road, more undead are killed. Whoever did this is coming towards here, so they hide. Lucy is here, and he pretends that he can't find the tape. They stop at a store. Despite his advice for Charlie to stay inside, he peeks inside and sees a machine gun. Charlie tells him to slip in the back and tells him how to get inside and out, and says she did it this way, but she never killed someone for it. She is taking it like Daniel took this store and killed the owners. He tells her that he didn't kill them and took it from those people who killed these people. They get to the backside. As Daniel tries to open the door with a knife, Skidmark attracts the undead. And as they make a massive crowd at the window, the machine gun starts firing while breaking the window for the undead. Both run, get inside the SUV, and leave. The undead have now spread on the road. Daniel says they have to stop them before they kill someone, so they will take them to the warehouse for their easiness to finish them. Morgan and Alicia do not find anything at Dylan's told place. There's no sign of there ever having been a camp here. Dylan stops them from going into the forest, so they doubt him now. He asks them to go to the old utility road. When he asks, Dylan tells them that his siblings aren't dead. He had lied to them since they were scared, but now Max and Annie are in danger. That man is gone, so they get outside. The undead break ties and attack them. Max takes her and leaves while leaving the gun behind. Victor asks him where the instruments are hidden. They are here in the SUV. Charlie tells them that there is a herd on their back, so he wants Victor to lock all doors. They will enter by jumping over walls. Sarah tells him that their plan has a 36-foot wide hole because to take this plane out, she has broken his fence. He laughs. He is not going to risk Charlie's life and stops the vehicle. He wants her to drive and take the instruments to Victor. He will take care of these undead by using loud music. She drives, and Daniel leads them towards the other road. Victor is astonished that he gave them these so easily. He apologizes for trying to kill him, but if he's taking this risk for what he did to him at the dam. Daniel says it's not for that reason. He wants Victor to tell them about Ophelia, that Daniel has been separated from his daughter. He lies to him that he knew where she was to take his work from him, and when he met her, it was too late, and Daniel couldn't say to her what he wanted to tell her. Anne is hurt, and she's slowing them both. Alicia and Morgan get here at the right time and save them. Anne still doesn't want them here. Morgan says they don't need to be afraid, and only they are here. A group of kids surrounds them. They are with Anne and Max. On a clear, sunny road, he's leading the undead. Victor is sorry for Ophelia. He wants him to let them help him. They are here. The MRAP stops in its usual action. He runs, guns at position, but as he gets under the van, the trigger isn't working. She tries to get him in, but it's late. The machine guns are stuck. Victor is here. Daniel is fighting the undead under the van. Victor leads all the undead towards the plane. He gets inside, starts its propellers. The undead are intensely getting burst and leaving bloodstains everywhere. It's like soup is ready. The propellers are finished, but so are the undead. He gets him up. Daniel says, "Now I'll not shoot you in the skull." Lucy sets up the transmitter with the help of Dylan. Dylan tells Anne that they're truthful. They can help them. Alicia asks them to please put down their weapons. They put them down. Finally, they were afraid of some people who came here before, and they have taken Al now. Max can help them, but they're going to stay here since those people in the camp were their parents. October 13th is gone and burned as usual, and he's heating up his soup. Charlie asks Daniel what he wanted to say to her. He says that every day brings a new chance. Daniel has been here alone for a long time and is now going to finish his work. He says she's needed here, and he has set the record player. He allows them to live here, and everything here is theirs now. Vic and Daniel are friends now. He leaves. He sees them one last time eating and walks ahead. Lucy calls for Strand, and he's here. The plane came in use to help someone, and now its engines are completely gone. Dylan gives Lucy an idea that they can repair all parts into a plane again and fly as that pilot in the book did. Morgan tells Alicia that his wife Jenny turned in the very beginning, and since they didn't leave, he lost his son Dwayne as well. Max asks them to stop and listen. They get down as a helicopter is getting into the air and leaving just above their heads. Anne tells them these are the same people and are going because maybe they have found what they came for. In raining weather, someone is pulling Al. She comes to consciousness and sees someone is burning a corpse. She takes her bag and runs in the forest. A soldier is behind her. She falls through bushes, gets tape out of the recorder. She tries to cross a water stream, but both sides are blocked. She gets out of there. She's barefoot. In open ground, the undead surround her. At the exact right time, the soldier kills them and hits her. She is a woman and asks her to get out her camera. Sees that the tape is missing and asks her. Al is trying to cut the cuffs. She can't. Looks around, opens the door with her feet, and calls the bald undead to come here. She takes wire from the undead's body, cuts the cuff, and kills the undead with the door. Takes her stuff. To know what these soldiers are here for, she gets through the forest and runs into a helicopter. It's out of fuel. She tries to radio Alicia or Morgan, but someone else is calling for Ground 17 to respond. Soldiers take her out, and a soldier tells them that the lead is KIA. After refueling, within 72 hours, she'll be there. They are sending a reclamation team. She asks her to wear a boot and asks about where's the tape. She wants to break her leg. Al says if she tells her story and location and why she's here, she'll give her the tape. She says you are worried because they're sending people, and they'll kill you as well. Al refuses to give her the tape. They need fuel. The soldier takes some stuff from the helicopter, and they have to take fuel from the fuel drop. Usually the helicopter goes there, but now they will. An undead is stuck under a rock. Al asks her about the map and symbol and about her mission. She wants to know her name and where she is from. She names her Happy and asks again. The soldier says, nothing of this matters. They stop as there's a landslide. She gets out and takes her gun. Al gets out despite the soldier asking her to stay inside. She wants her to wear this jacket to stay safe. Happy says I do everything to leave behind more than just stories. She kills undead while Al stays behind. Landslide takes their vehicle. Happy and Al take her stuff. They have to go on foot for the last 10 miles. A buried undead bites her. Only her jacket has saved her. A soldier gets a hidden tape out of her bag and wants to shoot her. She watches and finds out that this is a tape from when the apocalypse happened. The Army and National Guard were firing at each other, and she's hidden. The soldier says, you could have died. Al did it to have a story. Upon asking, the soldier says, if you see someone with such a jacket, stay away from them. They're a future force. They pass through a lot of vehicles. They look for keys but find hiking tools. While they climb up, they have to be careful since undead might still be there. They will start climbing in the morning and will camp here tonight. Al is in the tent, and the soldier is here as well. She closes the zip of the tent and her jacket. Al never told these things to anyone except her. The soldier says she killed her comrade because she was doing her work. They have a high tent tied among the trees. They start climbing in the morning. An undead is stuck up there. Al is behind Happy. Both get to the same level. They have to go through near that undead. After Happy, Al gets near the undead. Happy falls and is hanging in the air. Al has to put Happy's hook on the undead's hook. Happy loosens the rope. Al tries to get a sharp weapon hanging with the undead. She has it and kills it. She gets closer, takes her hook, and jumps to put it there. Both are safe now and get to the top. That soldier was her friend. They always come here to take supplies and leave to clean water at a nuclear power plant 10 miles from here. When Beckett saw radiated undead, he got afraid and wanted to leave. He used to keep this key to a cabin and have a great view. She throws it. He had maps, so they fired at each other. And for operational security, she killed him. Al says that she will have to kill her for operational security as well, and Happy agrees. Another undead who left a friend hanging behind Happy kills, and Al takes her gun for her operational security. They will take enough fuel to bring the helicopter here, and then we'll bring it here. The reclamation team will be here within 24 hours, and if Al's friends are around, they'll be killed. Al asks her why she has to erase that tape. Happy tells her that the place where she is from is much more important than her and anyone. If anyone gets this tape and learns to read the map, their mission will be endangered. If she will not that story, then Beckett, her brother, and her deaths will be in vain. They have time till morning now. Happy brings a cold beer. Al opens it. She tells her about Sarah being a learner brewer. Both share it. It tastes nice. Happy would have been glad to meet Al before this apocalypse, or maybe after all this ends. Al says everything has gotten so bad now, but it's good right now. It gets morning. They have to go earlier. They get down. Al had left the tape with an undead, but not this one. Happy kills one near the stream, and Al takes it. She gives it to her. Happy believes her and puts it on the fire. She puts it out with her foot. Happy says that tape was one part of the story. She asks her to please turn around. She puts a gun at her. Al knew. Happy says, "Then why did you bring me here?" Al did this because she will be satisfied until she presses the trigger that she chose something over the story. Happy wants her to be alive. She wants her to not find her and wants her to get back to her friends. Her name is Isabel from Indiana. She saw today the most beautiful thing after this apocalypse. They have fallen. They set on their ways. On her way, Happy clears the path from undead and leaves with fuel. She refuels the helicopter, gets inside, turns it on, and alerts command, so they are calling the reclamation team back. She has the Bog 7 tape. Al sees her taking off and flying away. She radios Morgan, and he's here. They get to her and are glad to see her. She says when she went back to record that walker and undead and got surrounded, she went into the forest. She names that soldier undead as a lighting trick from the camera's lenses. Al says such a lot of people. Al says Shigaki. It's her last name. Her Polish parents wanted to have both of their surnames. She just wanted to tell them too. They smile. She looks behind, and they all set on their way back. Annie takes her hat off and turns on water. There's a cartoon running on TV, and the kids are watching it all together. Dylan is reading Little Prince. Max takes a protein bar. Max is astonished to see her sister. She advises him to take a shower. Morgan is at the radio and asks if everything is all right. He thanks her for taking care of things. She says, "You know that roads are broken. We can't wander around radiation signs as well, so how will we get out of here?" They ask her to open the gate. They have brought all the parts of the crashed plane. They hadn't told them about these before. It was hard to get here. Roads were gone, bridges had flown away, and before them and Logan, there was a real mountain. But they found a way which directed them here. Nobody is out there to help them, but they have to fight together, and they are together to make this impossible possible with their help. They'll fix the plane now and have to fly across those mountains. Morgan comes out and gets to the maintenance area. He radios Grace, and if she's listening, they are preparing to get back home with some newfound people. She doesn't answer and gets outside for her work. John is practicing with his new weapon. He gets to the storeroom to find an alternative to his last broken one. He is trying to take out wood from a floor cleaner. He laughs as Alicia is observing him. They are working on landing gear and propellers. It was Dylan's idea, so it must work. The book says you can see with your heart, but not with your eyes. Al asks him, "Does your heart know how to fix the reduction gear?" They ask Charlie. She tells Sarah that Al has asked how to align planetary gears. She first has to clean it, and oil is leaking. She asks him to bring a beer. Annie asks Dylan who he is talking to. He says they will tell us from there how to fix the plane. Annie is being rude and says these people will go, and our life could be the same as before. Lucy and others leave to fix the plane, and June checks her leg. June says she used to run, but never with such a leg. She needs new shoes and socks, as her boyfriend says that survival starts with socks. He's here. They're thinking to head back and look for Sherry and bring her back before the plane flies. They are ready to test their plane. She starts the propellers, but after a while, it starts making noise and brakes. They're all fine, and it was the reduction gear. They don't have another propeller. Morgan kills incoming undead. Grace asks on the radio for Morgan or Alicia. She wants a generator and asks him to fill gas in it and keep it prepared to be transported to the plant. There's something wrong there, and radiation might leak again. John collects fuel. According to the note, Sherry went west, but Dwight has already checked that side. John says, when there are extra eyes, it helps you see better. He asks how they separated. Dwight says they had already separated before separating here. John tells him that June confessed her love for the first time using these. Dwight says you're lucky because, with these circumstances, you didn't change, break, or get corrupt. John says before the apocalypse, the world broke me, but nothing hurt him more than being without June. Grace tells Alicia that she took the second reactor offline, but it's leaving heat and the cooling runner generator has failed, so theirs is needed. By all this will get them a little more time, and they have to be quicker with the plane. Lucy tells Vic that they're going offline. They check the North Strip and the airport in the east, but the planes were all junked up. Charlie says we'll find a way. While Vic complains, Charlie says you are not the only one who didn't get onto the plane. Vic says our brewer at least had the advantage of self-sacrifice. Sarah says now he's dead. He didn't give up till the last. Charlie takes Jim's magazine and shows him. Sarah is amazed by this. Grace and Morgan are here. He'll help her remove cars. They need to wear suits. Al, who is fixing the plane, asks about John. Al is a little upset and says if she could have stopped that helicopter from taking off, they would have been home by now. June says once I talked to you and you didn't record, it gave her a lot of help, and she is here for her now. Anne asks Dylan and Max to leave since, last time when the reactor leaked, the forest saved them. Dylan and Max insist, but she thinks she has the only right to make decisions for them. Dwight is here with a killed man. It was here when Dwight came here last time. He tells that he has her ring because she had to give it up to save his life. He's alive just because of her. He owes his life to her. He needs luck like John. He's feeling slightly disappointed. John finds a note and needs a pencil. He finds one, rubs it on the page, and finds out Sherry was here. Anne is packing. Alicia says, so you'll leave as you left before? Anne doesn't answer. Alicia will let her take a car if she gives a single reason for not staying here. She says her family and 12 other families lived there, and they all got turned. Some people went to take supplies, and a herd of undead followed them. And this time, unusually, they didn't take care of safety. Those undead were unusual and were from the power plant. When they thought the wall would fall, the kids went into the forest with eating supplies. They used to do it before as well. After 3 nights of waiting, she solely went to camp. They were alive, but they were sick. They didn't even let her into the cabin and took her promise to take care of all the other kids. So she's doing it. Alicia says she really gets it. She remembers her mom's last statement every day. She says, but are you really protecting them? Or is it just easier to be surrounded by undead than humans? She leaves the last decision to her. Dwight says she was here and still might be. John checks the car from inside and finds a letter. He calls him but stops and reads it. She killed that man inside since he was about to kill her. She doesn't want to lose him. He should stop looking for her, and she's leaving, and this is her last letter. Grace says there's another suit in the back. He checks his old weapon and tells that the person who taught him to use this helped him when death was the only way. He keeps it back. Grace has to do it. She says there's no other suit. She says he can't go with her. She says you're a kind-hearted man who's trying to make up for his mistake, and we both are doing the same here. She starts the truck and leaves. Lucy gets outside and goes to Alicia. She asks Annie. Victor is on the radio. He says, you have a sweet tone of a songbird. He has found a way. Alicia says, what are you talking about? He asks them to look above toward the sky. They are coming from the sky in Augie Owl's flying balloon. Sarah and Wendell are cleaning the runway back at home. Lucy says the kids should watch it too. As she gets inside, they are gone, and so is the key. Alicia tells Morgan that they have gone, and she's going behind them. Dwight is happy to know that she was here and has found supplies as well. He asks if he found anything in the car. He lies to him. Victor is short on fuel and has to touch down soon. They will not make it across the trees. He starts lowering it and they are landing in a contaminated area. Alicia is here looking for Annie, Max, and the other kids, but here so many undead have blocked her way. She is going inside, and so is Morgan. He tells Victor and Charlie not to kill any undead at any cost. They are down and all right, but surrounded by radiated undead, and Charlie remembers what Morgan told them. Alicia is standing before undeads in the forest and tries to contact Dylan's group. She takes out her weapon and cuts the rope. Here, Victor is surrounded by radiated undeads, and propellers are on the ground. Charlie distracts them. Alicia has killed most of them. Morgan is on the radio. He can't lift the propellers. Victor says they're doing a morning walk with radiated undeads. She kills as many as she can, but there are still a lot. Grace is here at the power plant. She kills more of them. Victor asks Morgan to bring a vehicle to carry the propellers. June and Al are going for Victor and Charlie. He contacts Grace for her help, telling her about the crash and needing her truck. He's on the other side of the road blockade. She wants to help, but can't get out of here without fixing the generator. A few miles east of his location, there's a colony of workers. He might find something helpful there. Alicia gets deeper into the forest, and the undeads are not stopping. Dylan is here. He asks her to follow him. Victor carries the propeller towards a camp he made. Charlie brings a cloth blockade between the undeads and them. Dylan says a code, and doors open. She gets inside. She wants to help. Annie doesn't want her help. She shouldn't have come here. Annie asks about Alicia's weapon. This is her past and gives her the power to stay alive. Annie says why can't she leave them alone? She can't give up until she tries all ways to save them. By staying here, others will lose their lives as well. It is as crazy to stay here as it is to fix the plane. Annie says, you crashed to reach here. She stood in a forest full of undeads, but she still didn't give up. Why? Annie says there's something else. Alicia says that she wants to make up for some things she did in the past. She hurt and killed some people. People and places don't stay forever with you. Annie says they're not going, and she's not going as well until they clear the undeads and cover up the tracks she left behind towards this place. The plane is leaking. Al checks, and the fuel is almost gone. They have a tank full of gas, but they need aviation fuel, and Al knows where to find it. Morgan has found a car and is looking for the key. He finds a bag and finds nothing. He gets into a house, checks for undeads, and searches the house for something useful. Alicia radios him. She's fine and has found the kids. He's attempting to find a car. Both are in a contaminated area. She asks about Dory and Dwight. They're out of range. She tried a lot, but it's not working. Morgan has found the key. Alicia still has not been able to understand why they're still alive. Everything has a reason, Morgan says. Morgan sees himself in the shadow of an undead and says they must get everyone on the plane out of here. Al is here at the mountain. This is where she saw the helicopter landing. If she finds anything, she'll throw a rope. June tells John that they're taking the fuel. John needs to get here fast as the second reactor is about to melt. Their connection is cut. John says they need to go. Dwight says he should go and thanks him. He wants to further look for her. He intends to give him a letter but doesn't. Victor thinks these clothes will stop these. She says Daniel says every day gives a chance to start over. She says they might not get that chance. He says we already have got it. He kept saying he should have been on the plane. The truth is he had time to get onto the plane, but he hesitated because maybe he really didn't believe in them. But now he's standing tall here and she's along. They have just done an extraordinary thing and didn't hesitate, and now they never will again. Someone is here. Undeads are being killed. He sees it's a man in a suit, Mr. Morgan. He has to get them out of here. Max says Dylan brought her here because she might want to help, while Annie considers her a problem. He says the plane can still fly. She says they'll be safe here. The undeads break their ropes. Both get out of here. Alicia checks Dylan's old photos and drawings. She goes through a notebook and finds out tying undeads was his idea. He's scared of the undeads outside. He takes his box and says he drew them at the beginning of the apocalypse. He was playing Red Rover with Max and Annie in a dream, and Annie saw them and found them scary. That's why they stood them here to keep people away. Dylan is living in a bad nightmare. After losing her mom, Alicia sharpened her weapon. It kept her safe from undeads and got her away from living people. They open doors and get in. All the undeads are on their doorstep now. The generator has failed. Morgan goes for Grace. He tells her that he found a car. She says the generator is burnt out due to being too small and drawing too much power. They have 12 hours or maybe a day. Morgan will finish the plane in that time. She will try to fix the generator, and after finishing, will meet him at the truck stop. Morgan shows the truck stop, which is 10 miles away, and he'll meet them there. He is going for Grace. He will try to get back ASAP. June and Al have got the fuel. Knowing where to find fuel, June says they must get it done and tries to contact John, but no response. She says for a year, she had no contact with him and will not let it happen again. Al wants to tell her about Isabella, but she has to keep it a secret. She tells her that she met her when she was missing and felt love, but she can never see or talk to her again. When June left John in the cabin, he had become lost like a living corpse. She asks, what would you call a human who loses her most important part? She says only one thing to Al, that if she ever can't see him again, she'll remain grateful for all the time they spent together. In such a time of apocalypse, this feeling can stay alive. And she knew that it will stay alive. She is sure that Al will meet that person again, and June shall meet John again. The door is about to break. Annie doesn't have a single bullet. Alicia wants to help, but Annie is still being a bitch. But after all, Max and Dylan insist. She gives her weapon. She asks them to make another way while she stops them. John's vehicle runs out of fuel. They check a truck using wires, but it doesn't work. He says she might have gone across the mountains. He says they can do it, but they might have got into a problem, and tells about lying about the letter. He gives him the letter, and he reads it. John is sorry for him. He gets out of the truck. Grace is trying to fix the generator, and Morgan is here in a suit. He asks her to stop acting like she's dead. Alicia kills undeads at a fast pace and asks Max. They need more time, so she has to kill more. Annie sees her. She kills a lot of them. One of them falls at her. While she kills it, its blood gets on her face, and this one is radiated. Annie takes aim but can't kill a single one. They fall right on them. Finally, she kills them both. Alicia says it's not gonna work. She can't stop them as she had said. She asks her to get them onto the plane and save them. Annie says whatever you have done, you have made up for it. The kids leave. Alicia attracts more. Victor and Charlie are at the stop and need a shower and clothes. Grace didn't leave any way for him besides coming here. He tells her about Eastman. He taught him something which helped him get out of complications. He taught him that all lives are precious. He taught him redirection as well. So Morgan redirected her by putting his life at risk since Grace didn't care about hers. They both have the same problem. They think others' lives are more precious than theirs. The plane is almost fixed. The door opens and the kids are here. Lucy introduces Victor and Charlie to them. Alicia made them agree, but she's still there. She is here alone. John says, I know you might not be very happy with me, and I don't think so. I'll be able to say that this world didn't change him. Dwight says, it's not his mistake, and reads, find a reason to live and live. If he acts upon what she said and finds a reason to live, she's the reason to live. So he'll not give up. When he gets there, he might find her alive. Now Dwight is going to take John to June. Morgan asks if she's fine. She answers positively. Luciana told him about the kids. She did it. He is returning with Grace as well. Morgan says when they get back home, they will help people and will live their own lives as well. They will find a new way to live. He asks about her location. Suddenly, a siren starts. It's the reactor's countdown to melting.